Well, actually, this one is working, and we can start. Alright, so. Hi, hello, and welcome again for another daily ASMR video. Now this topic is gonna be very sweet, and it's about the history of ice cream, which is very long, flavorful, very sweet, and cool, and spans over centuries and many continents. Even from ancient times, royalties enjoyed ice cream, and it was a pure royalty dessert. Well, since then, it has evolved significantly. But let's take an account of some very interesting facts about ice cream's history. Alright, and well, it seems that the first attempt or the first well-known ice cream ever made was in China and Persia in ancient times, because Chinese kitchen at that time tried to create the first recipe of icy desserts, and they tried to mix snow with syrup and fruits, and this is how the earliest types of ice cream were born, more like frozen drinks than the ice cream that we are knowing today. Let's come closer to European territory and the Roman Emperor Nero. It's known for having sent slaves to mountains to gather snow, which then he mixed with honey and fruit, creating a frozen cocktail, which is believed that was the first attempt of an European ice cream. In Persia, well, modern-day Iraq, ancient Persians enjoyed a frozen dessert called faludeh, made from noodles, rose waters, and ice. This one were one of the earliest types of ice cream desserts in history. But ancient China was a pioneer in ice cream, because the first ice cream is dating from 618 to 907, between that period, and they enjoyed the first form dairy-based ice cream. Well, they fermented milk with flavor and camphor and packed them in containers of snow, frozen them. Well, there is a person who brought the ice cream to Europe, and that was Marco Polo. According to some tales, Marco Polo brought the idea of ice cream back to Italy from China. However, there is a little historical fact about this. But it seems that some rumors pointed him as the man who brought ice cream to the European lands. Well, ice cream was a privilege for the elites. For centuries, ice cream was an expensive luxury dessert that only elites and royalties can afford. Due to the difficulty of storaging ice, and the rarity of sugar and exotic ingredients. Well, ice cream at the French court, for example, in the 1600s, Catherine de' Medici, an Italian nobleman, reportedly introduced ice cream to French court. After her marriage with Henry II of France, making it a royal favorite in Europe. Alright, so next is Charles I and the ice cream secret. Well, there is a myth that the King Charles I of England was so impressed by frozen cream at a banquet that offered his chief a lifetime pension to keep the recipe secret from the public. Throughout the history, this story lacks of many other details, so it is considered just a rumor. In 1670, Francesco de Coletti, an Italian chief, opened Café Precop in Paris, serving the first commercially available ice cream to the public. Well, his cafe became a social hub for writers, philosophers, and politicians, and that's the point when the sweet dessert, the ice cream, has become commercially available for everyone, 670s. Well, did you know that George Washington was an ice cream enthusiast? Well, George Washington, the first US president, loved ice cream so much that he spent over $200, a huge sum at that time, on ice cream during the summer of 1790s. He even had ice cream making equipment at his home. Well, back then $200 was a fortune for most American. But we stay on US territory. Thomas Jefferson. Well, Thomas Jefferson, another US president, is credited with bringing the first vanilla ice cream recipe to America. After discovering in Europe, after a trip in France, his handwriting for vanilla ice cream recipes is one of the oldest in the US archives. The ice cream sundae was invented in the United States. Well, the ice cream sundae was reportedly invented in the late 19th century in the US as a response to laws banning soda sales on Sundays. Instead of ice cream sodas Fontaine became serving ice cream topped with syrup. Very interesting. So they find a way to overpass the law. Nice. So right, ice cream sundae. Good. And now about the ice cream cone. You know that very nice, tasty, crunchy ice cream cones, which I like very much. Well, it was invented accidentally at 1904 Louis World Fair. An ice cream vendor ran out of cups, so he partnered with a nearby waffle vendor to roll waffles into cones, creating the first ice cream cone. Well, this accidental invention became an instant hit, and for me, when I'm thinking about ice cream, for example, the shape of ice cream, it's the ice cream with a cone, of course, and this is what I like the most. Good. Ice cream helped boost morale of World War II soldiers. During World War II, the US military considered that a sweet ice cream is an important morale boost for the soldier on the front. In 1945, the US Navy commissioned a floating ice parlor aboard a barge in Pacific to serve ice cream on the sea. Wow, very, very cool, interesting. Well, next, Prohibition boosted ice cream sales. During prohibitions between 1920s and 1933, the ban of alcohol increased ice cream sales dramatically as people turned sweets, especially ice cream, as legal indulges, and they even pour small amounts of bourbon and liquor in their ice cream, and this is how the alcoholic ice cream was born. Wow, that makes sense. Eskimo pie was the first ice cream bar. In 1921, Christian Kent Nelson, a candy store owner, invented the Eskimo pie, the first ice cream bar coated in chocolate. Well, after that, this became so popular that Nelson struggled to meet the market's demand. Well, later on, ice cream became global with the freezing technology invented, of course. The widespread popularity of ice cream globally became only possible after the invention of the modern freezing technology or modern refrigeration, and that was in the 19th century. Before that, ice cream was harvested, or the ice was harvested from lakes or mountains and stored into the ice house, making it the ice cream rare and expensive. That's why only the elites could afford. Well, the most interesting fact is that NASA developed the space ice cream. In the 1960s, NASA developed freeze-dried ice cream for astronauts to take on space missions. To give us used only in a few missions, the space ice cream became a popular novelty to sold on Earth with NASA logo on it. This is insane. Well, I told you this session will be sweet. Sweet enough to eat an ice cream at the end. So, when you next eat an ice cream, wherever flavor you like, just think about some of these facts that I share with you. Well, these, let's say, untold facts, some of them, they're fascinating and sometimes a surprising journey of ice cream from the beginning to the present days, from the ancient royal courts to the modern dry freezer. But one thing is the most important, is that it's one of the most favorite desserts, but also a product of cultural exchange. So, well, at the end, of course, like always, one of the sweets outro of mine. I wish you all the best. Bon appetit on your ice cream. Bye bye. So this one is done.